Hello friends, welcome to this video. I'm so excited to share this with you. These are my favorite books of 2024. I love sharing these books every year because I love talking about my favorite books. And I read some really good books this year. It was a good reading year. Overall, I did read a lot of books, and I definitely have more that I wouldn't say that are favorites than that are favorites, but that is okay because the favorites are really good. So I'm so excited to share these with you. There's a mix of Christian fiction and non-Christian fiction, all the way from young adult to adult, non-fiction, memoir, all the things. So I'm going to write all of these books down below, and if I have reading vlogs or any specific review video that I did throughout the year for these books, I'll link it down below too. So if you want to see more in-depth thoughts of these books, I will link that there. I am not going to describe much about what these books are about. I'm going to mainly say why I loved them and why they're favorites. I will talk about content level and language, all the things, but I'm not going to super describe what they're about. I've talked about a lot of these books a lot already, so some of these won't be a surprise, but I can't wait to share all of them with you all in one video. And I did already make a best Christian historical romance of the year video, so I'll link that below. And then I made a clean rom-coms favorites of the year as well. And some of them are going to be repeated in this video because they truly are favorites now, but some of them aren't repeated. So anyways, I'll link a bunch of stuff in the description. Check that out. There's going to be a lot of books here, but all of these have my stamp of approval, and I can't wait to talk about them. I am filming this in December, and I've been reading some amazing books in December as well. So I'm going to talk about some of the ones that I've read already, but I may read more that I would have put in this video, so I'll just have to save them for next year or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's been a great year, but I do need to film this now because this is going to go up early for my patrons. So you guys are the best. Hello, you're watching this first, so I'm so glad that you're here. But yeah, for everyone else, hello, welcome. I'm very excited to share this with you. So enough chatting, let's get into it. I'm going to start with Christian fiction and then go to secular fiction. Wow. Start with Christian fiction though. So many good books. These are the best of the best. Okay. I don't even know where to start. I've read so many good books. Okay. Let's do it. Truly, I hold all of these books and I'm they're all the exact same amazingness. They're so good. I'm telling you. What do I even do? I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna go by author, I think, because I've read multiple books by the same author this year, and so good. Okay, so first of all, Melissa Koslin. I love Melissa Koslin's books. Love every single one. Every single one has been 5 stars. She has 3 that I know of. She may have, I think that's it. I think she has 3. So I have read Dangerous Beauty. I read Dangerous Beauty last year. It was a favorite. Love this book. But then this year I read Never Miss and The Lost Library. So Never Miss is, let me just make some room for it. Never Miss is her first ever published book, actually. And then Dangerous Beauty was her second. And then this Lost Library is self-published. So yeah, I'm glad that she is still writing, but I loved both. Her writing style in all 3 of her books, it's so unique. I've never read anything like it before, and it's hard to explain exactly what I mean. It's very character driven. You get such details of what the characters are thinking and their feelings, and you really come to understand the characters, which I love that. But then on top of that, she writes really elaborate plots that are so interesting. So watching both the deep characters that she writes go through these really intense plots, I would say they're both equally strong. It's so good. The way that she's able to make me care about what the characters are doing, it's incredible. I love it. And it's all Christian fiction. It's clean. There's no language, but it's intense. The romance is intense. The plots are intense. The action is intense. And she writes it so incredibly well. I'm amazed. And what I love in particular, okay, what I love about her books, she makes the guy character, the love interest, so obsessed with the girl in the best way possible. It's the best thing ever. I love her romance dynamic that she it's good. It's really good. Dream men right there. Okay. they're usually like, all three of her love interests that she's written are so different, but so perfect for the female character. I love it. Okay. Yeah. So Never Miss is romantic suspense. They're all romantic suspense. But Never Miss was so action packed. It involved the CIA. It involved like snipers and like an infectious disease. And I was like, what? But then I just love the characters though. Okay. But then The Lost Library, like this, it was so, this is kind of like Beauty and the Beast retelling. Love it. Truly, guys. Truly, like if you can get into her writing style, like definitely I do think that her writing style could maybe hinder some people from liking her books, just because she takes her time, but not in a boring way for me. Like I'm obsessed with it, but I could see how like it could be slow maybe a little bit for people, but I just like sit there and enjoy it. Like I don't even care that it feels slow, but it's not slow to me. Like I fully am entertained. So yeah, just saying. But I hope I convinced you. I love her. Definitely a new favorite Christian author. But yeah, I read 2 of her books this year and they were both 5 stars. And I got this from a subscriber. Thank you, Sebastian. Really appreciate it. This was like a Christmas, New Year's gift and I really appreciate it. So now I own this book so it can go on my Melissa Koslin shelf. And these books, like, yeah. So I just need to own Never Miss and then my collection is complete and I will be reading everything this author ever writes. I love her. Okay, guys, I'm going banger after banger. Okay, just get ready for it. So I feel like I'm just gonna do it. Lynn Blackburn. Are you kidding me? I've read this year, I read every single one of Lynn Blackburn's books this year. Literally every single one, because I read all of her short stories too. So, and actually, did I read this year? I did. Okay, this isn't a favorite, this targeted book, but Lynn Blackburn's short story in it. This was the first Lynn Blackburn piece of writing I ever read, was her short story in this book. And this was a random, like I got this for Christmas from my mom last year and I actually read it and I actually liked it. And I was like, oh, Lynn Blackburn. Why did I like her short story the best? Why do I want to read all of her books now? So read this short story. Then I dove into, I had to write them on little slips of paper so I don't forget, because I don't own all of her books, which I will someday. Okay. Other than maybe Under Fire, but we'll talk about that. Okay. But Unknown Threat was the first Lynn Blackburn book that I ever read, like full length novel. Obsessed, you guys. 5 stars. The second I started, I was like, how have I not known about this author? Like, she is actually incredible. She is the perfect combination of romantic suspense that I want to read. Are you kidding me? Like, you guys, the romance in her books, like, I'm telling you, it's like 80% romance, 20% romantic suspense, or like suspense, I guess, mystery, whatever. I love it. And the way, like, her male characters, again, like the protective type, I'm fine with it. I'm really fine with it. They're all in law enforcement. Sometimes the girls are too. Like, she makes her girls be doing different things, but all the guys are in law enforcement at this point. I stinking love it. I love it. All of her books, truly. I've given all of her books 4 or 5 stars. I would recommend any single one of her books, but let me just go into details here. So Unknown Threat was the first book that I read, 5 stars, absolutely loved it, and binged her. But okay, Malicious Intent is the second book to Unknown Threat. Absolutely love this book. I think this is my favorite book of hers to date, but we'll see, because she has a new series going on and I love that too. But this book, I read it once, bought it. Okay, I read it through the library, bought it then, my own copy, read it again and tabbed it. All my favorite parts. There's a lot of favorite parts. This is all romance, you guys. All of it. Okay? The romance in this book, unmatched. Like, the best romance in romantic suspense I've ever read. Okay? I love it. So yeah, highly recommend. Then kind of funny. Under Fire is the third book to this trilogy. Under Fire, though, 4 stars. Okay, still loved it. However, there is a term of endearment that really gave me the ick. Okay, has your significant other ever called you princess before? Definitely will never ever want to be called that in real life. So I'm gonna definitely have to let him know that, because like, do not be calling me princess unless like it's funny. But this wasn't funny. This was like, actually, he was like seriously like saying it, and I was like, ew. So that brought it down to 4 stars. But the actual storyline and the romance, other than that, loved still. Okay, so 4 stars. It's fine. So that was the trilogy. I was like, what? Go back and read her other stuff now too. So the other stuff is what is the first book in this series? I don't remember. Beneath the Surface. Did I not write it down? It's fine. Okay. Dive Team Investigations is her first ever trilogy. The Defend and Protect trilogy is her second one, but I read it first, so whatever. So I went back and read these now, and I read them all through the library, so I all own these after the fact. But okay, so the first book is Beneath the Surface in the Dive Team, and I did give it 4 stars. I liked it. It was solid, but like, I think it was the plot. There was a little bit more plot than romance than I was looking for. So that was kind of why I gave it 4 stars. But still, I was like, yes, I love her writing style. This is book 2, In Too Deep, and love this book. I think I gave it 4 stars still, or maybe 5. I forget. But the romance in this book, though, so good. Like, I love the characters in this book. So it's like a 4.5 if I didn't give it 5. But then the third book is called One Final Breath on this little sleeve of paper. 5 stars. Loved this book. This one was good. Okay, definitely want to own this book. Loved it. So very excited about that. Okay, so truly, guys, highly recommend. Amazing. But then her newest release this year is Never Fall Again. 5 stars. I loved this book. I loved it. But I read this book and then I reread Malicious Intent, and I have to say I think I like Malicious Intent a smidge better than Never Fall Again, but Never Fall Again is top 2 for sure. Like, love this book. More romance than suspense. Okay, that's what we want. So seriously, the romance though, loved it. I'm for sure reading this again. I need to tab it up. And this is her new series, so the next book is coming out next year. Can't wait. I'm probably gonna pre-order it because I'm like, I love these books. Yes. Okay. So then I also read the novella in Cornered, which I still don't have because our mail is on strike. So I can't get any books in the mail. I hope by the time you see this video, the mail is not on strike anymore, but I haven't heard an update about that. So, okay. But okay. So Cornered has a novella that goes along with this series, and I liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. It was too short. Okay. I wanted more. That's the thing. But I still was like, yes. So 4 stars though, come on. So literally Lynn Blackburn, I'm her new biggest fan. I love her writing style. I love her characters. I love her romance. Yes, please. Okay. So that feels really good. Okay. So there's that. So Melissa Koslin, Lynn Blackburn, amazing. But there's more. Okay. So moving on to another author that I'm like, how does she exist? How do these books exist that they're so good? Technically, I read all 3 of these books this year, but I read Autumn by the Sea for the first time last year. Then I reread it this year, and then I read A Seaside Wonder and Wedding at Sea for the first time this year. All 3 of these books, this is a trilogy. Read it in order for sure. Like, they definitely build on each other, but they follow different couples. But all 3 of these books are slam dunk, 5 stars, epic Christian romance, like some of the best contemporary Christian romance ever. Seriously, like the writing style, the characters, the dialogue, like the woven mystery in the whole thing, like the character development, the faith content, like literally everything. These books are so good. You have to read them. If you like Christian romance, you will like these books. I'm just saying, like, there's certain books like that, which I need to make a whole video. There's a handful of Christian romance books. If you like Christian romance, you will love them. It's a guarantee. I can guarantee. If you like Christian romance, you will like these books. Okay? I'm just saying. And then for some people, even if you don't like Christian romance, you might like these books because they're that good. Okay, I am hyped. So yeah, Autumn by the Sea was another 5 star. I reread it and I loved it the same. I love these characters. I love the storyline. I love the setting, like literally everything. So then A Seaside Wonder was so adorable. Like it was a really sweet romance, and I really liked the progression of the plot in this one. But something is so special about Wedding at Sea. Like, this is one of my top books of the year because I cried. It made me tear up, and I haven't teared up really much at any of these books. I think there's only 2 books in my whole thing here that made me cry, and this is one of them, because the like depth of like grace and redemption and romance and character development that happened in this book, it was beautiful. It was truly beautiful. I loved it. Highly recommend. Okay, so Melissa Koslin, Melissa Tagg, I love you. Okay, write more like this, please. Okay, I did just see she posted on Instagram the other day, which I guess it's been weeks now since that, but she's writing more. She's been writing again. Yes. Okay, like if I could write like this is how I want to write. Okay. Yes. I need a drink now. Yeah. Okay. To make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, next. Moving on along. Okay. I feel like I've talked about this book a lot. Maybe not. The Roads We Follow by Nicole Deese. Okay. It's a favorite of the year. It's 5 stars. Okay. There are parts. So there's like letters. I skipped the letters. I actually skipped every single letter. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't care. So it's a little bit alternating timelines, you could say, because you are following like the main present time, and then they're reading journal entries, and the journal entries tell a story. So as I was like, I did start the first journal entry, and I was like, meh, I don't care. This is like about past characters. Yes, it affects the current characters, but only like not enough to like impact the plot really. And once I realized that, I was like, skip it. So by skipping the journal entries, I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The present timeline, like the romance in this book is so good. It's so funny. There's so much humor in it. But then on top of that, the family dynamics, the family development, like it was so good. It was so good. And I cried. This is the other book that I cried at the very end. There is the most beautiful love confession that I've ever read in this book, at the end of this book, where I was like, oh, it was so beautiful, because the build up to it, like she built it up so perfectly well that I was like, oh, what? It was just so good. So I love this book. I for sure would recommend it. Like, skip the journal entries. You won't miss anything. It's fine. But maybe you like journal entries. Read them. Great. But yeah. So it's definitely a favorite of the year. I definitely would read this again because I want to tab it. I want to find all the cute romance parts and enjoy. But yeah, this book is really good. Okay, and this is the other book that made me cry. So there you go. Okay, the only Christian historical romance that is on this list is Beyond Ivy Walls by Rachel Fordham. This book, it's kind of more like a 4.75 if I was gonna be, you know, sticky, because I would say that there was a touch of depth lacking, but I loved this romance. Like, the romance was the sweetest thing ever. And again, loved the characters, loved how they communicated. It was adorable. And I actually tabbed this because the romance in it was like I was like giggling. It was so cute. And I actually have a video of me reading this and I like explain a little bit of it. So highly recommend watching that. But this is still a favorite of the year. I think Rachel Fordham is a really good writer and I really hope that she can continue to write. I don't know about a new book coming out in the new year, but this was her one from this year and I highly recommend it, you guys. Like, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling and I thought it was done really well. There's a dog in it. Actually, lacking depth. It wasn't lacking depth. Like, there was a lot that the characters had to work on in themselves, like a lot of personal growth and redemption and grace and then love, and it was really great. So yeah, I just really like this one. It's just not my favorite of hers, but who cares? It was still a great book in itself and I would highly recommend it. So that is it for the Christian fiction. But I'm telling you, everything that I just talked about, they're all so good. Like, you can't go wrong with any of these books. Truly. Check them out, okay? Check my videos that I'm going to link because I did read a lot of these books in reading vlogs this year. So if you want to see more, check it out. But let's go on to young adult, shall we? Or maybe, no, we'll go to romance. Romance! Yeah. So some of these I already talked about because I made a rom-com video, but these are like the best of that video that like make it among all these other amazing books. So it tells you that they're really good. First up, I kind of think that I loved them both equally, although this one I think was even more surprising. So this is How to Kiss Your Enemy. This was in my rom-com video, but it's on this list because I was shocked by how much I loved it. Like, when I saw the enemy part, I'm like, I don't like enemies to lovers in contemporary romance. I've said that millions of times. I never like it. But this one was done so well. I gave it a shot and I loved it. loved it. Like the depth of this relationship is, it was actually such a well done enemies to lovers, where it wasn't them just being mean to each other and poking jabs and whatever. It worked. It really worked. And I thought she did it so well. Plus, she added a depth to this story because the girl's dad is going through something, and that like really added an emotional aspect to her character and to their relationship, and it was done so well. I really related to it, and I thought she did incredible with that part. And then the romance was so swoony, and I loved this book. It's definitely an all-time fave, and 5 stars, all the things, like highly recommend. So then when I went into How to Kiss a Movie Star, I was like, there's no way it can top How to Kiss Your Enemy. But this one, what was different in this one is the humor. Like, this one is still a rom-com. Like, the Enemy one still had a lot of funny moments for sure, but the depth, like with her dad and stuff, I guess made it deeper or like less like lighthearted. This one was pure lighthearted, but so funny. Like, I've never laughed so much in a rom-com than I did with this book, because I'm telling you, the squirrels, also look at that, squirrels. Please read this just for the squirrels. Also, I will say I listened to the audiobook of this book originally, and that the squirrel part was done so well in the audio. I was laughing out loud, I'm telling you. And then for the rest of the book, like, it was funny. And I loved the relationship, how it progressed. And like, this is a classic celebrity story where, oh, the fame gets in the way and they have to work it out and whatever. So whatever about that. I didn't care about the plot, but the characters and then the like really funny, witty moments that Jenny Proctor wrote about, it was masterful. I loved it. Highly recommend. Yes, I would say I like this one equally, but for different reasons. So that's why it's also on this list. And it just stands out. Like, I definitely think about these books the most out of all the rom-coms that I've read so far. So that's saying something. We're gonna have to hurry it up here. This is a long video, but hey, you like it, right? I'm really debating if I want to put this book in this video. I'm gonna mention it. I won't spend too much time on it, but Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. I just feel like I want to put it on this list because I did give it 5 stars. I really loved it. It's already in my rom-com video, but I think, again, because I was so surprised by how much I loved it, because it's Christina Lauren. Like, I've never read any of their other books, but I've heard that they write spicy books, and I don't plan to try any of their other books, but like, I don't know, this one just really worked for me. I loved the Tangled retelling of it and the progression of the relationship. I loved the dynamic. Like, truly, it was great. I really loved it. So it does feel like it's a favorite, but like, I'll just move on. There you go. Okay, on to young adult, which I read so many good young adult books too, you guys. Okay, so the number one young adult that I read is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. These books, I ate them up. Like, I was obsessed with The Naturals when I first read it. I read it in one day, you guys, literally 24 hours. I couldn't believe it. Like, it flew by. I mean, they're not big books. They're young adult. They go by really quick. But like, I got sucked in, so obsessed. I love this series. I have read them all twice because I haven't read Bad Blood twice, but I've read the first 3 twice because I read the first 3 through the library and then obsessed, bought them, and then tabbed them when I read them again. And then Bad Blood, this is an old library copy that I got from my library because it was too damaged and they're like, just keep it. And I'm like, okay. So it doesn't match, which is upsetting, but I'll get over it. But this series, what I love about it, it works in young adult to have something kind of intense. Like, it's about serial killers. There's like blood described. There's crime scenes described. There's like really dark feelings described. But because it's young adult, it just brings a little bit lightheartedness so that it's like palatable, I'll say. On top of the romance though, the romance was so good. There's like a little love triangle in the first one, okay? And maybe even you could argue in the second one too. But she did it so well. And I don't know. I was obsessed. I was so obsessed. These books, such good young adult books. There's no language that I can remember, but there is like a lot of blood and there's only kissing. And like in these 2 books, but mainly in Bad Blood, like serial killer cults, just gonna say that. And it's described about these cultish behaviors involving blood and torture. Okay, that's all I'll say. So beware. I would say that like an older teen would read this, not a younger teen, because like the Naturals book, I'm like, oh, a 13-year-old could totally read this. But then you get to Bad Blood, I'm like, oh, maybe not a 13-year-old. I don't know. It depends what your tolerance is. But seriously, all-time faves for sure. So glad I own these. I get the hype. They're really good, and I was so happy to read them this year. So definitely new all-time fave young adult books. Okay, super random, guys. And there's something about this book, like sometimes you just like get connected to a young adult book or fantasy book or whatever, and it just lives in your head and lives in your heart, and it is what it is. You can do nothing about it. And that's this book for me. So Defend the Dawn by Brigid Kemmerer. This is book two to, I think it's just called the Defy the Night trilogy. So here's the books. Defy the Night is the first book. I read this in December of 2023, and then I read Defend the Dawn in January, and I was obsessed with this book. Like, I read it during Read in the New Year last year, and I ate it up. I was like, I don't know if, like, because I gave Defy the Night 3 stars. Like, it was, like, mid. It was fine. And I was like, oh, do I want to continue? But I'm like, oh, I have this book. I'll try it. Obsessed. And again, I think when I'm surprised by how much I like something, I'm like, 5 stars, love it forever kind of thing. And I loved the dynamic of the characters in this one. I liked the setting of this one. It just worked. It really worked for me, and I was really, really into it. And it ends on a super intense cliffhanger. So then I did read Destroy the Day. I can't put Destroy the Day on this list, even though I did really enjoy reading it. But if you watched, I guess, I'll link some videos down below. Ultimately, I wouldn't recommend this trilogy for you guys, but I read it. It was fine. If I had known before, I probably wouldn't have even started the trilogy, but because I didn't know, I read it and it was okay. So that's vague, but like I'll link videos down below if you want to learn more. But this book still stands true as 5 stars and an all-time favorite. Like, so I wish I could recommend it like better, but I can't. But I'm just saying this is a favorite of the year. Okay, and then another young adult series that none of them were 5 stars except maybe the last one, but it's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I gave the first 2 books 4 stars and then the last book 4 stars as well, but it's a 5 star in my heart. And I truly loved this trilogy. I was blown away by it, very impressed. It definitely, I guess it's one of those young adult books where it works that we're following teenagers and it's set in a young adult world, but for it to be marketed to young adults, this is quite graphic and dark for young adults to be reading. And I haven't been a teenager in a long time, so I'm trying to think of like how I was as a teenager and if I could read this, and I don't think I would like it or that I would be able to tolerate it. So that's why I'm like what I'm basing it off of. But maybe there are teenagers who would love this, and obviously there are because it's young adult, it's still popular, whatever. But yeah, so I personally loved it. As a 31-year-old, I loved these books. I really did. But it's dark. It again, like there's murder, there's blood, there's serial killers, there's intense PTSD and trauma and anxiety. And the third book is wild and crazy, but I was so thoroughly entertained that I would give it 5 stars. And I still like have fond memories of this trilogy. I do have a whole reading vlog actually reading all 3 books, so I'll link that below. But yeah, for me, I really enjoyed it. So it's a favorite. Okay, so I'm going to now talk about 2 nonfiction, and then I'm going to end the video with all of the Christmas rom-coms that I've read that are favorites, just because like they're seasonal, so maybe you care a little bit less, and you'll be seeing these in recommendation videos in the future for sure. But okay, let's do nonfiction first. So technically this isn't nonfiction, but it's Hind's Feet on High Places by Hannah Hurnard. I read this with Krista. She was doing a read along, yeah, and I did some live shows with her, so I was really excited to do that. And this is the first time me ever reading this book. This is technically fiction, or you could just call it allegory, and so to me it feels a little bit like nonfiction, even though it's telling a story. But I loved this book. I love books like this when it comes to Christianity. Like, allegory sometimes goes over my head, but when it comes to Christian allegory, I love it. And this was one of those things, like when you can see the metaphor of like, I guess because with Christian allegory, I actually understand what they're trying to say. Whereas with normal allegory, I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? But for this one, it's like, oh, I see what you're doing there. Christian life is hard and trusting God is hard. But this was such a beautiful story. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that I read it. I had no idea, but it's such a cute little story, and I highly recommend it, actually. So yeah, if you want to try Christian allegory, check this one out. There are a lot of like audio versions on YouTube for free to listen to, so if you want to give that a go, highly recommend. Okay, and the last nonfiction is Over the Influence by Jojo or Joanna. And I just have to put this on this list because I loved her in high school. I was obsessed with her song Too Little Too Late. I like played it on repeat, and she's just one of those like kind of pop R&B singers that I grew up listening to, and so I've kind of always followed her career over the years. Like, she's had a lot of like bumps in the road and been through a lot, and so when her memoir came out, I was like, I need to read this for sure. And I thought it was so well done. I thought it was well written. The way she read it out loud was so good, and I just felt really connected to her. I felt like I got to know her, and I really liked what I saw. She's rough around the edges, you know, and like, but she knows God, and I loved that she did show the parts that God was in her story, and I just thought that was really beautiful. And I think she's going good places. I think that she's going to be totally fine, and it was just really encouraging to read her story for that. She swears a lot in the book, so be aware of that. She talks about drug use, alcohol, sex, all the things. So but for me, I just really enjoyed seeing her story, so it is a favorite of the year. Okay, I have another drink. I have 3 so far, hopefully more, but so far 3 Christmas rom-coms that if they weren't Christmas, they would just be top tier 5-star rom-coms, but they're Christmas, so I'm gonna put them in this category. But like, these are good. These are really, really good. So I have to talk about all 3 because they're all equally like 6-star reads, I'm telling you. So first one is Faking Christmas by Cindy Steele. This was the first ever book I read on Kindle Unlimited. Don't ask me why. God leads me to these things. Sometimes he helps me find great books, because why did I try this book first, and why was it 5 stars? Amazing. I don't know. But I read it at the end of November, and I was like, how is this the best Christmas rom-com I've ever read? But then I read 2 more. So yeah, Faking Christmas though, I'll link my wrap-up down below because that's where I talked more about it and like described what it's about. But the romance and the plot, like, the thing is, to make a rom-com 5 stars for me, the romance has to be the sweetest, cutest, funniest, wittiest thing ever, and the actual like setting that the characters are in has to like matter just a little bit. So like for Faking Christmas, she's fake dating this guy at like a little Christmas resort, and it's super stinking cute. They do a lot of cute Christmas festivities. I'm also looking for that, I think, like the cute Christmas vibes. If it's a Christmas book, it better like feel like Christmas in the book. Like when it's just like, oh yeah, it's Christmas and that's it. Like, come on, go see some lights, put up your tree. I don't know, but seriously, there was a lot of cute things in this book. But it was the romance though. The characters and the dynamic, it was so funny, so good. It was a little bit like Hate to Love, just a little bit, but in the best way. The guy, so good. Okay, highly recommend, 5 stars, read this book. Okay, but next, 12 Days of Mistletoe by Jen Atkinson. This book was recommended to me by a subscriber, so thank you so much for recommending it. Don't know who it was, but the only reason I tried this is because of that recommendation, because they said, oh, I love Faking Christmas, and you might like 12 Days of Mistletoe too, because it's also fake dating. And I was like, oh, I think there's something about fake dating during Christmas time. I love that trope, and I'm fine with it. But okay, 12 Days of Mistletoe, it was so funny. It was so funny. This book was very funny. Characters were great. It's fake dating. And the setup, the writing style was so good, easy to read, like so quick. There's a little meddling grandma in this book. She was done so well. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny. His characters had to kiss under the mistletoe 12 times. And it was great. Okay? Very funny. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Last one, which this one is so good too. Like, I can't make this up. It's really good. You need to read this book. Okay. I just had a little coughing fit because I'm like too excited. Jingle Bell Jilt by Mindy Burbage Strunk. Most random name ever. But Jingle Bell Jilt, 5 stars, 6 stars. Loved this book. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is not fake dating. What it is this girl gets ditched at the altar on her wedding day, okay? And they were gonna go on their honeymoon over Christmas. And she's like, you know what? I paid for everything. I'm gonna go on this honeymoon by myself because who cares? And I wanna have a nice little vacation and get away from life. So she does that. There's a guy there and he is the one who owns the house that they're renting. Why is this hard to describe? Anyways, I'm telling you what it's about. I'm supposed to tell you why I loved it. Okay, it's because of the setup though. Because she's like getting over her ex and he is secretly best friends with the ex and she doesn't know that. And so she's like talking smack about her ex and he's like, wow, he sounds like a terrible person. What? And then they start falling in love and they do super cute Christmas things. So many cute Christmas things. I loved it. And like seeing their relationship grow, like you could say it was insta love because it was like over a week that they were together and they fall in love. But it made sense because of what they did together and like what their conversations were. They had depth and lightheartedness and all the things. And it was so stinking cute. And I loved it. I loved it. What I also loved about all three of these Christmas rom-coms, there was no big blow up breakup at the end. So like have the third act breakup, nothing like that. It was like chill. Like there were conflicts they had to work out, but it was chill. They did it. They communicated like adults. They like admitted their feelings and apologized and like forgave and was like, yeah, I still want to be with you. And I really, really liked that. So yeah, but Jingle Bell Jilt though, I probably love it a lot right now because I finished it, the most recent. It was so good. I read it so fast. I was like, what is this book? I love it. Like, and I read it right after 12 Days of Mistletoe and just banger after banger. Like what? It was so good. So highly recommend, okay? These are all clean, no language, only kissing, and like not even that much steamy kissing either. Like, but like you can write romantic tension without any physical intimacy, which is the best. And these authors did that. Okay, so highly recommend. These are going on my wish list. I want these books. I'm gonna be buying them, okay? Because best Christmas rom-coms ever. But who knows what else is coming? I'm reading more, and there might be more coming. And I'm so excited. So those are all my favorite books, I think. Did I hit it all? I did. That's it. That was a very long video. Thank you for watching this whole thing. I'm writing every single book down below. I'm linking videos down below. Check it out. But thank you for being here. I'm hyped. I love talking about my favorite books. And I hope that you got recommendations from this video. And we carry on. This was very fun. My sister, Cassandra, is also going to be sharing her favorite books of the year. So we're going to be filming that soon. And I'm going to post that for you guys. So yeah, look out for that coming. And thank you for being yeah. Thank you for being here with me. I need to go drink some more coffee and chill. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys and bye-bye.